start their presentation.
I'm going to present my iPad.
All,
no problem.
all others, please close your microphones, please.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Then off we go.
Back at Luxembourg's meeting, our workshop was aimed to study all the gadgets and tools provided by an app called Blink linked to Arduino cards, as well as taking a look at some similar finished projects carried out by means of it. Taking into account all this information, the following task consisted of assessing all the possible aspects that could be measured regarding the weather conditions. Moreover, some browsing was necessary in order to arrange all the basic components to set a functioning sensor app. The purpose of this workshop is to communicate with the Arduino sensor board, which recognizes C language programming language. This is intended to be carried out by the Blink app, which is available to download on our mobile devices totally for free. This process should enable us to measure our room's temperature and humidity.
The components we will need are the following ones: an Arduino board, a DHT11 sensor, a male-female cable, and finally a smartphone with connection to the internet. Thanks to the DHT11 sensor, all the data collected is converted into processable information so as to allow any kind of microcontroller to read it. In addition to this, Blink is an application for mobiles that, among other functions, allows us to control and monitor the sensor's functionalities online. The steps to be followed are the next. First of all, we must connect the Arduino board to Blink by Bluetooth. We have to ensure that our board includes a Bluetooth communicator. Otherwise, we might need a wire to connect the chip physically to the device from which manage the app. Once in our application, we have to program the board to do the task that we desire. This time, we're going to be collecting data related to the temperature and humidity. We add two parameters and assign them each to one of the factors that we want to measure. Once added, in each of them we will establish the configuration so that the components shows us the data later.
In summary, in our journey to program Arduino boards capable of measuring the humidity and temperature of a room, we have created a short guide in both Spanish and English, which includes all the steps. Finally, we had started to create our own board until the lockdown started. Since the materials were at our school, we unfortunately couldn't continue. The sense behind this interactive activity is to demonstrate how simple it can be to assess the current state of our area, which is vital to identify whether the efforts against pollution are being effective enough or not. We can apply the learned skills to set a sensor in open spaces and get valuable data that can be led to the rise of global warming awareness. And this is why we honestly think that this is a great way of allowing the youngsters to take a part in our planet's preservation.
The conclusion that our group has drawn from conducting the interviews is the lack of importance of climate change today, since we think that it will never affect us. According to these interviews with experts, we only need ourselves to change it. With little personal sacrifice, we could manage to improve the devastating situation in our world today. They have also reflected that in the educational field of our country it is not given the importance it needs, and the new generations don't realize how important this problem is. A director of a company against climate change made us see the importance of changing the energy that we are consuming to renewable one, and stop using fossil fuels, or that we should stop investing in pollution sources. Another measure that he told us is to change our way of transportation, not to use our private cars and use more public transport or just go by bike or on foot. In conclusion, we all must do our part and modify a little the quality of our lives so that in the long run the problem does not get bigger and we have to regret it.
Hi, I'm Sarah, and we are the part of the Spanish group that investigate on climate change and the effect that it has in our health.
Hi, I'm Laura, and we have investigated on soil, water, air, and noise pollution and how they could affect us to our lives, such as the diseases that can cause some effects of climate change.
Hi, I am Elena, and we have investigated about the different types of pollutions, like what are them, who produce it, and how this pollution can affect to the environment, and here are our conclusions.
First of all, we are going to speak about the soil pollution. Our conclusion are this kind of pollution is produced by the heavy metals, the emerging pollution from urban and industrial sources, and the agrochemicals. Also, this kind of pollution can affect in our health. For example, it can affect in genetics problem, like your descendant could have trisomy, that is a genome sickness, and it can produce Down syndrome. Also, another more common is dermatitis, that is a sickness in the skin.
I am going to talk about our conclusion about the air pollution. The air pollution is produced by the burning fossil fuels like coal, gas, and petrol. In short term, it can produce breathing diseases like asthma, and then in long terms, it can produce obliterative bronchiolitis.
Okay, noise pollution is produced by traffic of cars, construction, etc. When the noise turns into more than 85 dB, it can produce stress or cardiovascular effects like vasoconstriction.
Okay, our conclusion about water pollution is that it is produced by heavy metals like mercury, chemicals like fertilizers, and industrial waste. In terms to our health, it can produce stomach problems like cholera or malaria.
Well, at the end of this project, at high school we did an experiment in order to see how the acid and bases can change the pH level of the water, because the water has a low level of ionization, and that means that even a drop of these chemicals will change it, and it can change the balance of the ecosystem as well.
The water has a neutral pH level, meanwhile the hydrochloric acid has less than 1 in pH level, and the sodium hydroxide has 14 in pH level.
Our conclusion is that if an industry would throw chemicals into water, it will produce an alteration in the marine ecosystem. That means then when we would eat that fish, we would ingest that chemicals such as the mercury in the tuna.
And it was our project, and we hope you liked it.
Students in the fourth year of secondary school created in January bilingual activities on climate change for the subject Scientific Culture. They included different levels from pre-primary, primary and secondary school. During February, they attended meetings with the Science Teachers Department to make improvements in order to adapt activities to classroom work. Our final aim was to put these activities into practice on the 5th of June to celebrate the Environment Day, but a small grade intruder made it impossible. Related to our future plans, what awaits us next school year is making tutorials and teaching materials to help teachers using the box in the science class. And of course, working on new workshops that have a strong impact in the whole school community.
Okay, that was all. Applause. Was the sound okay? For me, it was very, very low, but I don't know.
We didn't hear quite everything. It was sometimes the voice was quite okay, and sometimes it's getting a lower level, and then we had some difficulties to understand.
Oh, okay. Well, we will share it so that we can all look at it slowly.
Okay, that's good. That's good because there are some parts we didn't quite understand.
Okay.
But it's good if you share it. We can look it again.
Yeah.
Okay, and Sonia is writing also the same difficulties, yeah. So it's good if you share it, but it was nice to see that you made a video and everything. And you managed to do it before Corona? Before the virus?
The video and the presentation, we did it a few days ago,
yeah.
And not all the activities could be finished.
Yeah, no.
Some of them have to wait till next year.
Yes, it's nice, thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much from Spain.
You're welcome.
And then I give Helena, then the Austria will have the next.
Great, then we go. So, can you? So, may I change to our tasks? I think I must share before. Just a minute. I'm sharing. What is I sharing? Bildschirm freigeben there. So, can you see? Can you see some?
Yes.
Can you see us?
Yes.
The PowerPoint. The PowerPoint, not us, but the PowerPoint.
Oh, the PowerPoint.
Yeah,
right.
That's great. Good. So I have two guys here come to see.
No.
No. Two of the group is still here. You see Michal here and then Kilian here. And we have some background there who is scrolling away because we have some problems because we have only few people coming to the school and so, but these two lucky ones were here available today. So you will see what we did so far and what are we going to plan to do. So I start and then I give the guys to talk more. So but you see?
Yes.
Yeah, because we tell about the task we are going to do, what we started already, and then the virus put everything down, but we have enough plans to do. And Kilian is going to tell about the first task.
So we will buy some measuring devices to measure the pH value, the temperature, and the conductivity. We're searching for something, but we already have found quite a lot. Then we will purchase the equipment and we will test it in autumn. And when we will then the results we will evaluate and we'll give a short recommendation and a short description of the use of this measuring device. So why we are going to measure these three values, the pH value, because of if it's acidic, if it's neutral, or if it's an alkaline. The conductivity to know how many dissolved particles are in the water, and the temperature is showing the energy from the particles in the water. Then we have some measuring devices. The first one can measure all three of them. It is quite expensive, but it is, the shipping is €0, and the country of delivery is Austria. And these three values are easy to measure, and they affect the quality of the water. Then we have a lot cheaper one with $13.95 and $10 shipping, 10 euros shipping from Germany. It is only measuring the temperature and the conductivity. Then we have an extra for only pH. It's about the same price and the same shipping, but only for a pH value. Then we have another one with all three values to measure. It costs about 30 euros when we include the shipping, and it's also delivered from Germany. And the last one is also, we can also measure the three values, and it's quite cheaper than the one before, and the shipping is €0, and the country of delivery is also Germany. And
So these are one of those, and we will buy several cases, and then we will test them until tell which one is the best one, because it doesn't make sense to build up any equipment in case if we buy it for 15 euros and it's reliable. So we will stick to buying and purchasing and testing. And also in this packaging concerning water, we think that every country should really collect some important information of the local situation, because it's very, very different. If we compare Austria with Spain, it's different, or so on. Michael will tell you of something about Austrian situation.
So I split this presentation in how important is the pure water and the water in Austria in general. I will talk about some general facts and the international consumption of water. Then I will talk about the pH value, the hardness of water, and the lead in water. So how important is pure water? Without water, there is no life, and the whole world is drying out. And about 60 to 75% is stored in the human body. And 2/3 of the earth is water, and just 1% of it is drinkable water. And it gets every year less because of the global warming, because the poles are melting. And the WHO said that every country should have pure water, but that's not possible in every country. So there we see a statistic about the international consumption per capita per day. On the first three, we have got the United States, Canada, and Belgium. And we have as well listed the 5 countries: Spain, France, Germany, Austria, and Luxembourg. Now I'm going to talk about the water in Austria. We've got a law in Austria.
Je suis avec mes 2 collègues. Elle me dit oh, je lui dis oui parce qu'elle a peur d'être riche. Elle est
Sonia, we can hear you a lot.
So we've got a law in Austria that says the water must not be harmful. So we've got over 24 quality measurements to do before the water gets to be drink. And we in Austria have got a low lime percentage in the water, and the hardness is 11 degrade on the German hardness scale, which is pretty good. Now we'll talk about the pH value. Water should be neutral. That means the pH value should be about 7. And the pH value measures the potential of hydrogen in the liquid. And it says about it, is it acidic, neutral, or alkaline? The hardness of water is caused by the magnesium and calcium in the water, and it causes calcification in copper pipes, which is not that good. But however, magnesium and calcium is very important for our body and bones. Now I'm going to talk about my last point, the lead in water. Lead is very harmful and deadly for our body. It should be under 0.01 milliliter per liter. And in the 19th century, it was about 4 times higher than now. And because of that, many people died. And there you see a comparison to the old lead pipes and the new copper pipes.
Okay, and this is what we've done before, and I'm going to do starting in autumn. And the second part, which is going to be done, is the cost comparison. And the guys who are in the 4th grade are unfortunately not in the school today, and then so I'm going to talk for them. So this means that when we get the cost, for example, the sensors done with our German colleagues, we could compare the costs, and then nowadays we really know what can happen, because if we mostly buy and purchase everything from China and everything via internet, we will have a problem in a situation like this. And then this leads us to the question that are all parts really always available and deliverable? And this is mean that we should look more sourcing in Europe. And for example, we think that the focus on fair sourcing. But as you say, we're coming from the economical side of engineering. It's always we need to compare the cost. How much does it really cost if you buy something in China and it costs, I don't know, 3 cents, and we need the same parts, and we can purchase them from Germany, and they're going to cost, I don't know, 5 euros. And then it's always a question, what weighs more, the cost or the sourcing? But this is going to be interesting, and then so as soon as we get some cost from your side, we will take a look of those and then think. And then of course, recommendations, depending how much money we do have, or all the other countries who are going to do something, how much they have it. But anyway, we should look costs, cost purchase from China and cost when we purchase in Austria or France or Spain, Luxembourg, Austria, wherever in Europe. So this would be the most important 2 tasks. Besides the water and the water quality, and then we see already from the Spain that made some thoughts about water quality, and this is also that we will do of course our Austrian part, and we can do some international. We can take care of the international comparisons like WHO did, and so that look at some general data. But we think that every country should add their own situation to that, so that people are really aware how important it is to have poor water, enough water. And as I said, the other part is going to be about the costs, because we always have to think about the costs. And so that was the one from our side. And this is the one that's going to wait for us in the next weeks or next week. Stop. Wie das jetzt da du? So, you saw us, you heard us.
Yes.
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 Good, and I think it's quite interesting to see that already in Spain you have thought about the water and so on, and it supports us, and we can support you, and it's really doing fine on that way.
Mm-hmm. Michael? Eckstein, can you hear me?
Dat is ausgeschaltet bij. Ja.
I think.
Moises is in. I let him in.
Okay, next is Germany.
Ihr braucht nicht schreiben. Ihr könnt von da hinten. So, ihr teilt den Bildschirm. Ja, super. Dann hätte ich gar nicht so krank gemacht. Doch, natürlich. Du kannst doch übertreiben. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. Kann mal jemand die Präsentation hochschalten jetzt so? Nein. That's beautiful. So our German group presentation about the works in the last months. Okay, then I'm going to start. At first, I would like to say that we're 3 different groups in Germany. So we have 3 different kind of measurements and different of sensors. At first, I will start for my group. That's the group of measuring fine dust. As you can see here on the diagram, our main target was to program a microcontroller to measure fine dust. Our first sub-target was to connect our microcontroller to the sensor. After that, we Danny programmed the microcontroller. For our third sub-target, we did some measurements on the car. Our fourth sub-target was to control our measurements with a different sensor, but we didn't make that because of the coronavirus. Our fifth subtitle was to explain the function of our sensor. We did this with a small learning video. And our sixth or second main target was the Erasmus project, like doing the workshop or working for TwinSpace.
Yes. So after the Luxembourg trip, so we started to program the microcontroller. So you can see just the microcontroller and just sensor, and yes, you have the USB and put it in the PC or something like that. And yes, then we started to program and do the documentation and the movie. So then came the coronavirus, and we tried to work at home, but it was difficult because we don't can. So yes, that was.
I
So
think
we have other.
Was it about the Finders group? The next group from Germany, please.
Hello. Well, we're the next group. There they are. Our task was it to measure the CO2 in the air. So Tim and Julian are going to tell you how they program our sensor, because I've got no idea about this, but they're pros. So let's go. Oh, I think you will start. You start. You start. Because you have to use So due to technical difficulties, I'm starting now. So they're going to tell you how they programmed the sensor, but at the end, when they were finished, we did a few, there we go, well, yeah, it doesn't matter. So we did some research with our sensor. So you can see here a thing that we did. So we put the sensor together with a candle underneath a bowl of glass, and then we lit a candle, and then we took measurements of the air quality inside that bowl during the candle burning out. So if we go one, here you can see our graph that we put together out of the values that we took. So you can see on the x-axis the time in seconds, and on the y-axis our values in parts per million. That's just the measure, how you take the measurements. So you can see after a short while the values begin to rise, and they max out at 10,000 ppms, because that's where our sensor has its that's the maximum value it can read. So it may have gone higher, but we don't know that, but that's just our interval in which we are measuring. So this was one thing we did, and now there it's that.
So this is our microcontroller, and on it you can store and display the data you get from the CO2 sensor. And the microcontroller stores the data and transmits that on a program on the PC. And on the PC, on the program, we can evaluate the readout data and display the data on the computer.
Yes, on the computer, we have a program for the computer, and you can see the measured values graphically, and it seems like.
Yeah, so that was it from our part, the CO2 group. Now the last group one.
So after our arrival from Luxembourg, we wanted to start programming the NOx sensor, but the programming of the NOx sensor didn't go as planned. All our investigations and theories turned out to be wrong, since even our supervising teachers had no idea how the sensor should work otherwise. For this reason, we no longer have a nitrogen oxide sensor, and they switched to our carbon monoxide sensor. Since we had already spent quite some time for searching for informations, is very time consuming. This was a very big setback for our group, but now we have a microcontroller supported sensor, runs in a question and answer mode to get the measured data on demand. And we finished the programming despite Corona, and we managed to not only get the sensor working, and we are even able to perform measurements. So we start to do experiments.
Yeah, besides that, we made some chemical experiments for measuring carbon monoxide on a manual way without a sensor. And after that, we also used another experiment for like the other group did, except we have used more sensors like them, like you can see here in the picture. We used also the sensor from the other groups, and yeah. Yeah, that was our presentation. I hope you liked it. And if you have any questions, you can ask us.
Very good.
We applause already.
Thank you very much to Germany. And then I give the words to the France school. Sonia.